After heated exchanges with Europe's biggest union, Volkswagen has come to an agreement. It will fire well over 35,000 staff, and it will also do something else. The Volkswagen Group has admitted that it's producing way too many vehicles that the world doesn't actually want from Germany, and they're too expensive. So Volkswagen is going to outsource production of some of their cars to Mexico. They also claim that by firing this many staff, I mean, these numbers could end up being much more, they will save around 15 billion US dollars, 15.6 billion US dollars every single year. Plus, they say that they will reduce production capacity in Germany by 734,000, but keep all of the same factories open. This news is a disaster. It's worse than it sounds. In fact, it's a lot worse than it sounds, and I'll explain to you exactly why. I think you're likely to agree with me. The Volkswagen Group has come to an agreement with Germany's biggest union. They will fire more than 35,000 people. However, they plan to keep all of their factories open. This is horrendous. This is the worst possible news we could have heard, because it means that their factories that are running way below their capacity, way below utilization, will be even more inefficient. Already, Germany's factories are so much less efficient, just miles away from the efficiency of the Chinese car manufacturers, from the efficiency of Tesla's factories, and now this news is going to make it even worse. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. You know, it's great to have you with us. Well, I would say that usually, but today, maybe not so much, especially if you live in Germany. To be honest, I have no sympathy whatsoever. I've been telling the Germans for many years, not that they're going to listen to me, but I've been saying for many years, warning signs. The Chinese are doing this. China is doing this. Things are changing. You're about to be disrupted. But to be honest, there is a fair bit of arrogance in Germany, and they're certainly not interested in listening to analysts outside of Germany telling them that they're in trouble, that doom is coming their way, and all of a sudden now they're in a crisis. They're firing more than 10,000 people every single month. Seriously, that's news coming straight from Germany. Statistics and data showing the German economy is shrinking, showing that apparently 40% of businesses next year will cut staff, that were their highest bankruptcy numbers in more than a decade in Germany, but the bankruptcies are worse because they're not just individual mum and dad bankruptcies, we're talking commercial business bankruptcies at their highest numbers ever. So what's happening here with the Volkswagen Group? Well, Volkswagen says it'll cut more than 35,000 jobs over the next few years. They have to save many billions of dollars, and I honestly think that this is just the start. This is not going to solve anything. It's just going to prolong the inevitable. The fifth day of collective bargaining between Volkswagen and the biggest union in Europe, IG Metall, is the last, they say. Or at least until the next time this happens. The board and employees have worked out a compromise, which the relevant committees approved in the afternoon yesterday. The agreement averted a tough industrial dispute with drastic consequences for the company. Nevertheless, tens of thousands of jobs are affected by the compromise. More than 35,000 jobs will be cut between now and 2030. According to Volkswagen, this will be done in a socially acceptable manner, as the company announced. Now, how is it socially acceptable to fire more than 35,000 people? Keep in mind, there's going to be flow on. You're probably going to be looking at, you fire 35,000 direct automotive industry jobs, you're probably going to lose at least 100,000 in the German economy. So Germany is it's in fear. I mean, the automotive industry, I don't think people realize. We're not seeing this stuff in our news in Australia. We're not seeing this in the news, as far as I know, in the United States or in anywhere. But in Germany, the crisis is like, people really are afraid. People are scared. They think that millions of jobs will be lost, and they will. Millions of jobs will be lost. Guys, I'm willing to take on a friendly bet with anyone who believes that is not the case. That won't happen over the next 10 years. That the Chinese won't disrupt Germany. They're already doing it. I mean, come on. They were the fourth largest manufacturer in the world, China, in terms of exports, and now they're number one. That happened in a couple of years. They're growing at an insane pace. China is the growth engine of the automotive industry now. I mean, what? 80% of all electric cars are made in China. Anyhow, tens of thousands of jobs are affected by this compromise, more than 35,000 jobs. And in addition, Volkswagen management and the Works Council have agreed to reduce the technical capacity at their German plants to build 734,000 cars a year. That is the same as the capacity of the main plant in Wolfsburg, Volkswagen's largest plant in Germany. Volkswagen, though, did not even build 500,000 cars there last year. So its capacity is about 800,000, and they built less than 500,000. IG Metall considered the end of the negotiations a success. Guys, you sign up to a union, you think the union, it's all bluster. It's bluster, bluster, bluster. You won't lose your job. Pay us money, pay us as the union, pay us all your money, and guess what? You're never going to lose your job until more than what? More than 35,000. What does that mean? 40,000, 45,000? They're going to be fired. So they've paid their union tariffs, their union fees. What are they getting back? I'm curious to know. This is why I personally am skeptical of the power of unions, because usually it's more about what's in it for them than what's in it for you. IG Metall considered the end of negotiations a success. The agreement averted plant closures. But why is that a good thing? And redundancies, the union announced. How did this avoid redundancies? They're firing more than 35,000 people. I can't understand what the union's talking about. Apparently, job security will be reintroduced and extended until 2030. In return, employees will forego direct wage increases and bonuses will be cut. So there will not be any wage increases between now and 2030. IG Metall chief negotiator Thorsten Groger said that a package has been put together that includes painful contributions from employees, but at the same time creates prospects for the workforce. Clear commitment to Germany as a business location, says the unions. Right. The three goals of reducing labour costs, bringing development costs to a competitive level, and reducing excess capacity at the German locations have been achieved, said Volkswagen brand boss Thomas Schaefer at a press conference held by the car manufacturer in Berlin. Now, let's be very clear here. I've read everything they've said, everything, and I cannot see how they have actually brought development costs to a competitive level, because that is physically impossible. It's literally 45% cheaper to manufacture an EV in China or a plug-in hybrid, right? 45% cheaper. How is any of this going to actually bring the Volkswagen Group, bring manufacturing in Germany even remotely near that figure? I don't even see how it's going to reduce their cost by 5%, let alone 45%. But if you do, guys, I'm all ears. Please send me an email, write it in the comments, because I'm just missing this. I'm reading everything they're saying, and I just cannot understand how this is actually a net positive for the Volkswagen Group. Yes, they will reduce their immediate costs, but they're keeping all their factories open. All of them will be running incredibly inefficiently. That's the reality here. The press conference took place at the same time as an IG Metall press conference in Hanover. These are tough decisions, but they also set the course for the future, said Schaefer. This will lay the foundation for building Volkswagen into a technologically leading volume manufacturer by 2030, with a clear commitment to Germany as a location. Do you guys actually, are you buying this? Let me repeat this. These are tough decisions. They set the course for the future. This will lay the foundation for building Volkswagen into a technologically leading volume manufacturer in 2030 with a clear commitment to Germany as a location. Okay, we're firing more than 35,000 staff. Technologically, we are behind our rivals, but this agreement somehow changes all of that. I don't understand, guys. I'm baffled. Volkswagen Works Council Chairwoman Daniela Cavallo said that a rock-solid solution had been achieved under the most difficult economic conditions, although there are collective bargaining concessions beyond monthly income. This is offset by the solidarity-based preservation of all locations, including future prospects, new job security until the end of 2030. So we're allowed to fire, I don't know, just under 40,000, but everyone else, we're not allowed to fire you, even if you suck, even if you turn up to work sick. By the way, Germany is the worst country in Europe for people turning up sick. A huge percentage of people just don't turn up to work, and all they have to do is call the doctor on the phone, tell them they're sick, and they don't have to go. And this is a big problem. Mercedes-Benz CEO says it's a crucial problem for Mercedes-Benz, and he said it's at crisis level. Anyhow, Volkswagen went on to say, last but not least, the certainty for the board that changes at Volkswagen against the will of the workforce are doomed to failure. Now, whatever that means, you take it as you will. This agreement was preceded by more than 70 hours of negotiations and strikes, of course. More than 100,000 people striked against Volkswagen as a group, which I don't think Volkswagen cared, to be honest. Anyhow, both sides repeatedly extended the fifth round of negotiations and struggled for nights to reach a result. Literally, they sat in a boardroom for hours and hours and hours. It was the longest round of negotiations in the car manufacturer's history. On Wednesday, participants were still speaking of widely divergent positions. The main points of contention until recently were the plant closures and redundancies brought into play by Volkswagen. IG Metall had described both as red lines that must not be crossed. The union also rejected the flat rate wage cut of 10% demanded by Volkswagen. So here's what the unions could have done. Volkswagen said 10% wage cut and we'll just continue as normal. The Volkswagen Group said, and that the IG Metall union said, no. We'd rather you fire 35 to 40,000 staff instead of a 10% wage cut. Now, genuinely, if you had a job and your employee said, guys, we're fucked, but if you take a 10% wage cut, you can keep your job. Would you do it? Or would you prefer to be fired? Well, unions decided most people would prefer to be fired. I mean, this is an enormous percentage of the workforce. They only have about 110,000 people in Germany. So they're basically firing probably up to 35% of the entire workforce. Apparently, people want this. I don't think they do. I think the Volkswagen Group has actually said to IG Metall, guys, we're going to go bankrupt. We can't pay our liabilities. We have these massive debt repayments we have to pay. We have $240 billion in debt. And our profits are at their lowest level for many years. How do you expect us to pay it? We can't pay it. And then the unions probably should have said, well, you just invested $6 billion into your joint venture with Rivian, this Scout stuff you're doing in America. You just bought a Chinese software company for $2 billion. You just spent more than $1 billion buying into Xpeng. That's a lot of money. You're throwing around a lot of money here, guys. Could these austerity measures have meant that those decisions could have been changed? Now, don't get me wrong. I think it was a good decision to invest into Xpeng. Not sure about the Rivian idea. Xpeng, brilliant move. But the point remains. When Elon Musk said, where is the money coming from when the Volkswagen Group said they were investing more than $5 billion in Rivian? Well, he had a damn good point. Thanks for watching.